Welcome back to Digital Lean Management, where we digitalize, automate, and augment the lean management toolbox with AI using Microsoft tools. Today's video is the final episode in our Skills Matrix series. We'll be exploring how the Copilot Analyst Agent can help you analyze a skills matrix in Excel or SharePoint. The beauty of this approach is that it requires no development or setup. You simply use an agent developed by Microsoft directly on top of your existing skills matrix. The Copilot Analyst Agent is available to Microsoft 365 business users who have access to the paid version of Copilot. If you're still relying on outdated methods like clunky Excel formulas, endless pivot tables, or even manual updates on physical boards, it's time to discover a faster, smarter, and more sustainable way. In this video, we'll walk step by step through how to use the Copilot Analyst Agent to surface insights, identify skill gaps, and visualize team capabilities. By the end, you'll know exactly how to transform a static skills matrix into a dynamic decision-making tool that supports better training plans, smarter staffing, and stronger project outcomes. So, let's get started.
In today's detailed video demonstration, I am going to walk you through the specific steps on how we can add a wonderful bit of magic to our skills matrix, and we'll be doing this by utilizing the incredibly powerful artificial intelligence assistant, Microsoft 365 Copilot. The starting point is to go to office.com. When you first go to the website office.com, you will be asked to sign in using your own Microsoft login credentials. And you'll arrive at the Microsoft chat where you have access to Copilot. If you have the paid version, you'll see a Work and Web tab. And if you don't have the paid version of Copilot, you won't be able to do what I'm doing because it won't give you access to the Microsoft agents. So if you have the paid version, you'll have access to a number of Microsoft agents. And so you can check out these Microsoft agents here. So you have, among others, a researcher agent and an analyst agent. And so for today, what we're going to use is the analyst agent. So this analyst agent's role is to use Python through text, so you can talk to it. It will actually understand your request and turn it into Python code for the data you provide. Why is this interesting for us? It's interesting because here we'll be able to input our data, our database with our skills matrix. It will be able to analyze it for us and can even draft a skills matrix, creating the visual directly through our chat. And all of this actually without any coding. So how does it work? All right, so the very first thing you will need to do is to navigate over to your personal skills matrix. As you saw in our previous videos here, we created a team in Teams where we put our skills matrix in a Microsoft list or a SharePoint list. The only thing to do here is to go to the top and export. You can export your data in Excel or CSV format, both work. You do that, you export your data in CSV format. Right here, you can go back to your chat tab and explain to your agent which data it will use to perform this analysis. The first thing to do here, you can upload new files, but you can also access existing content on your OneDrive. At the moment, you can't directly link it with a Microsoft list or a SharePoint list, but I'm sure that at some point that will happen. However, you can link it with Loop documents, Excel, or Word documents in your OneDrive. So here in my OneDrive, I have my maintenance team skills matrix. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it here. You'll see it's going to load pretty quickly. And from there, I can start interacting with my file however I want. So here, very simply, I'm going to tell it, analyze this file for me. So in general, I think it's a good practice when using the analyst agent to start by broadly asking it to analyze your data. Why? Because it allows the agent to look at each column in the file, see what's in it, what it looks like, and it will give you a lot of information. And then what I recommend is to refine your queries based on that initial request once it has a good understanding of the file you've uploaded. What's really interesting with this analyst agent is that you can see in real time what's happening. So here I can click and see, okay, so it's currently doing the programming behind it What is it using? It's using Python. That's the code it uses in Python when it examines my data. What does it look like when it performs additional analysis? What does it look like behind the scenes in Python, and so on? And actually, what's really great about all this is that all the code it uses, I can reuse for myself, just copy and paste it, and then use it later in my own code or in a script that I can customize however I want. Once again, the agent's analysis usually takes a bit of time, especially the first time you upload your data into the chat. And that's precisely because they're performing all this analysis for you. So generally, it's worth the wait. You can work on something else in the meantime and come back later. So after a little while, it will tell us how long the analysis took. For example, the analysis took 126 seconds. So all in all, it took about 2 minutes for it to analyze my data and give me a result. And so that's kind of the idea behind the funnel approach. It starts off very broadly by telling me how much data there is, how many rows are in my file, how many users there are, how many skills are represented. And now it's going to start analyzing for me. So it's going to tell me, for example, there are 64 rows, so skills, for which people are not trained. There you go, that's what it looks like. Next, it will create a profile for each of my technicians, telling me, for example, the technicians with the most skills on average are Ishaya and Diego. At the same time, those with the fewest skills will be Hamza, Fred, and so on. And it will also generate a small graphical representation of these average skills for each of my users, once again to help me make decisions. And actually, what's pretty great about all this is that in the end, you can see that in my initial prompt, I didn't ask it for anything specific. I really asked in a very broad way, analyze this data for me, and then you can really drill down and go further in the analysis. So once again, if I scroll down, it's going to look at specific skills. So which are the skills where I might potentially lack trained personnel? And so here, for example, we'll see that things like elevator maintenance and robotic maintenance are going to be right at the top of my list. In terms of untrained personnel, if I decide to continue forward, the system will present me with information about when this specific analysis was actually completed. It will detail where the underlying data comes from, and it will also show if there are any particular people who have been flagged as needing to take mandatory trainings or follow-up courses. And it will give me a summary. So from there, what's also quite interesting is that it will suggest additional actions by saying, okay, do you want me to recommend a training plan for your team? So we'll be able to do that maybe as an additional action. But before doing that, what we're going to do is each of us generally is used to having visually for the skills matrix, a matrix. So a matrix that we've made in the past on Power BI, for example. Now, what I'm about to demonstrate for you is that by leveraging the powerful capabilities of the Copilot agent's analytical functions, I am able to perform a complex task like data visualization directly and efficiently, all from within the familiar interface of my chat window. To do this, I'm simply going to instruct the agent using a natural language command. I'll ask it to please go ahead and draw a detailed heat map based on the skills matrix data we've provided. Okay, let's do that. So let's see how long it takes to perform this action. Usually it's a bit faster since it already has a view of the data. So now it's going to search for the data it needs, concatenate it, and look for the visual in Python that it needs, which is called heatmap. And you'll see that it looks very much like a skills matrix. So there you go. You see it was faster this time. This time it took 22 seconds. I thought we weren't going to get our skills matrix, but actually, right away, I get the names of my team members and all the skills listed at the bottom. And so just by talking to my file, I'm able to get a skills matrix. Once again, I can rework it. I could ask it to change the colors for me. I could ask it to put my skills in on the left and my team members at the bottom, etc. So really, you can interact with this file however you want. And that's really the main strength in the end of everything related to LLMs and generative AI. And once again, here, we didn't do any development at all. We're using an agent that was created and made available directly by Microsoft, which I'm using in a very specific context because I know I can use it in this context. So once again, it's more about training, skills, knowing what we're capable of doing with all this, but with a potentially very powerful use, since you can interact with your data without needing an analyst to support you.
And that's it. You've just seen how to use the Copilot Analyst Agent to analyze a skills matrix from SharePoint list data. Now, you can identify skills gaps, visualize team strengths, and track capabilities in real time, freeing up your time to focus on what really matters, driving continuous improvement. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips on digital lean management. Leave a comment below with your questions or suggestions for future topics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.